Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Conscious Awakening series. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, and today my guest is Grant Gentry. Now, I want to thank you all for joining us before we even get started, because this is your podcast to support your spiritual and your cosmic path. And today, Grant's going to give us a little bit of information about these cards, oracle cards, that he's going to be publishing pretty soon. I'm calling them the Magic Infinity cards. I'm not sure what the name of them will be when he actually goes to publish them, but I cannot wait to share them with you. But before we do that, I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. Just take a deep breath in and out. Just slow your breathing down. Take another breath in. Anchor it all the way down into the earth. Get yourself nice and grounded. Taking another deep breath in. Just kind of run that energy, that breath right into your heart. And feel your heart beginning to open. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, you can open your eyes and step into our call today. So, hey, Grant, how you doing?
Hey, Sheila.
I'm excited to have you here. Now, Grant and I, our paths have crossed many times, but we met each other at the Sunfire Festival, which I've told you guys about before. It was absolutely phenomenal. You got to make sure you go next year. That way we can all hug each other. But I met Grant there, and it was absolutely wonderful. And I just had to share him with you guys. So, Grant, I want to welcome you to Cosmic Conversations or not to Cosmic Conversations. That's what I do on Mondays and Thursdays. I want to welcome you to the Conscious Awakening series. And I want to share everything about your new Oracle deck that's coming up. And it also has a book with it, right?
Yes, it's got the cards and then the book that goes with it. I can show you. I mean, it would be nice to have it displayed, but I at least have the pages here.
Yeah.
So, like, here's an example of a card right here.
That's beautiful.
And so the purpose of the deck is to help connect the different dimensions together. So I've got that soul family card, for example, because I know you and me are soul family, and we got a lot of soul family on this team. That there's different levels of, just like in mathematics, there's different levels. Things get harder, more complicated as you move along. In our bodies, in our family, in both geometry and arithmetic, and also in the stages of our consciousness and in the layout of the universe, it turns out there is a pattern. It's basically a rainbow pattern that displays in all these fields. And so what I've done with the cards is unite all these fields together in one coherent pattern. And so then this soul family card is at the 6th level of the family cards, for example. And so just like you have your chakras there on your backdrop there, then that same template turns out applies to all these other forms that people might not have realized. So I made the book based on that system.
Well, you also mentioned mathematics, and I want to share with everybody that in addition to being the developer of this phenomenal deck, you also are a math teacher, right?
I am. I'll be teaching the pre-calc and the calc class this next year at the high school. And
well, that's amazing.
I love to teach math. I love to teach mystical math. And I love to use the math to help inspire people, get excited, help free their consciousness.
Yeah. And so really what you're saying is these mathematical principles can be applied all the way across the board, regardless of what it is, whether it's the foundation of the universe or the foundations of our energetic systems, correct?
Yes. Yes. And it's just a way of looking at, how in the rainbow, the red color has the longest wavelength, and the purple at the top has the shortest wavelength. And it's basically, you're just getting less and less and less dense as you move up. And so it's the same with our bodies, or and I show it in the math also.
Awesome. Awesome. So can you kind of take us through the basis of the decks? Now, I know with a lot of Oracle decks, they're divided either like by emotions, or they're divided by color, or something like that. Is your deck divided out that way also?
Yeah, there's two ways to see it. One is that there's 7 fields. So family is a field, geometry or dimensions is a field, arithmetic or level numbers of infinity is a field, the heavenly bodies and the outlay of the universe is a field, the chakras and the endocrine system, and plants and the alchemical level stages of consciousness.
Awesome. Now, what really inspired you to divide or to lay your book out this way?
I was a student of math and philosophy and religion, and was always obsessed with the higher dimensions, and wanted to know how to access them, or to know what they mean, or how to help teach other people about it. And so some years ago, when I discovered the pattern, it all came to me like kind of in a flash, because I started noticing that there was this cool pattern to the way that the numbers and the different sets of numbers laid out, and how that actually seemed to kind of line up with the chakras, which I didn't expect that, or think that, or I didn't know that could happen. But when I saw that they were effectively the same thing, and at first I was like, oh, well, I've got this cool new pattern. But then when I saw, oh no, this is actually across the board, this applies to all manners of fields, the same pattern. Then I got the download in one night, and I got these messaging from these beings who told me that I was going to make an Oracle deck out of this information, and then I was going to help make the curriculum for the Star Children of the Future.
Wow, that's a pretty big task.
Well, yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, the book is supposed to be the introduction and access point, and then I've got different versions for the youth, or for other people who want to know different, to expand it to other fields.
Wow. Well, when I saw the deck and I saw the way you had it laid out, I got really excited about it. And like I said, I wanted to share it with people. Now, I remember you had the image at the top, and then there were 4 different sections under the image. Can you tell me about what the 4 sections are about?
Yeah. So in the book, every card is laid out with a reflection and a challenge and a remedy and a key to superpower. So first card you draw is your reflection. The second card you draw is about your challenge. Third card you draw is a remedy to help you with that challenge. And then if you really want to take it to the next level, you draw the 4th card for the key to superpower.
That is cool. Well, I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Oh, thank you, Sheila.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to ask this. Anytime that you're developing something, you're really putting a lot of your energy into it. And do you see that these decks are a way that those beings that provided this information are kind of working through you, so that you're putting that energy into the deck, and they actually will then be working with the person who is working with the deck?
Well, I like that idea. Of course, it's through the words and the symbols and the print. So,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of magical kind of synchronistic, awesome things tend to happen around the cards. And so I know that they're like spirit blessed. They're made to have this effect. So I think probably so. There's because it's meant to be like this universal patterning that we've not known about. We just didn't know. We just hadn't seen the pattern yet. And so when you see the pattern and you start to access being able to see the entire universe inside your body, not just as a mystic idea, but spelled out and made it real clear how that works. Then we're entering into an expanded state of consciousness that's closer to our original form. When we used to be connected to the consciousness of the stars and we knew so much, this is like a gateway to help. Oh, wow, I can understand these things. I can access this information and try to make it understandable.
That is cool. And so the deck that I saw, obviously that was for the adults, and you're going to replicate that and make one for the kids as well. Is that what I
I've got it
understand?
laid out that way. Yeah.
Oh,
I've got the fields that would go in that deck. And so
awesome. Awesome. So as you have been creating this, is there one particular section that really speaks to you?
well, since I'm a math person, I've correlated geometry and arithmetic together. So the the arithmetic is based on the levels of infinity, like the whole numbers, the integers, the rational number, just the groups and sets of numbers. And it turns out there's an exciting correlation between those sets of numbers and the dimensions. And I've shown how they line up together. And I've taught, I teach math, I've tutored all these people for so long, and it's not taught this way. It's not taught this way, and math's not organized this way. And I believe what I've made will help people. I can use these cards, for example, and if we go to that math, the math cards, math freaks people out. So a lot of people, they get to the level where they don't know, and they just start kind of showing their nervousness and anxiety, and it's palpable. People will show their trauma just looking at the card. And so I can tell with just a few cards where they got stuck in their math development. We can usually pretty quickly tie that to what age they were at, what time, what was going on in their lives, and I can access their own developmental pattern through the math, which people aren't doing that. I know.
Well, no, people definitely are not doing that. But, it takes more than just the knowledge of math to be able to tie that together. So, in my opinion, I would feel that you are very intuitive. So, would you consider yourself clairvoyant?
Well, I certainly I have psychic abilities. I don't. Sometimes there seem to be stronger than others, so it's not like, but with the cards, I've done all kinds of readings with people around the country, and used to be on a psychic hotline. People call me, and I've done quite a bit of the work doing the readings, and a lot of wonderful reads have happened. So,
Awesome.
I've trained in transpersonal counseling psychology, and I've been real into just consciousness development in general and healing. So I'm also an acupuncturist. So I have a lot of different domains that I really trying to bring together for the healing. So
So what made you decide that you wanted to settle on being a math teacher with all this vast, skills that you have in your toolbox? What made you decide to choose math?
Well, this year my daughter's living with me. She's 14, and now she's going to be living with me, and she's going to be going to that little high school. And so it's a private school. So if I teach that one course, then she goes at a very reduced rate. So it lets me be in the school. I love to teach that course anyway. And then now I'm with her, and now
let you keep an eye on your teenage daughter, huh?
Yeah.
All right,
right
Daddy.
there with her.
Got it. I got it. Okay. Well, that's awesome, though.
So and just one more thing was in my ideal world, like I'll teach some of my upper level students about the dimensions and how the numbers lay out, and we do some of that work, and it's okay to do that in the alternative. It's a Waldorf inspired high school.
Oh, nice.
So there's more room for soul or for higher order patterns, and so I can talk about that kind of thing in my classroom. And then I really like also to just inspiring people because I feel like if basically people are stuck at the 3 and 4th dimensional level and think
Yeah.
that's all there is. And many of us on our team here know there are these higher levels, but classically it's basically like, well, here's the 3rd dimension. We do understand the 4th kind of, and then everything beyond that is just out there.
Right.
But what I've done with the cards is show no, is there's the 5th level, 6th level, and the 7th level, and that's what all we need to map the universe. So
Okay. So let me ask you this. People who are watching that may not be familiar with the dimensions or the densities or the levels or the realms, can you share a little bit about that with us now?
yeah, so it's great you have that chakra strip right behind you because we can use
Yeah.
that as a visual a little bit.
Okay.
So if we're talking about the layout of the universe, for example, the way I've got it laid out is that red at the bottom would be the Earth, and then the orange will be the moon, and then the yellow will be the sun, and then the green would be the solar system, and then the blue would be the galaxy, and then the indigo is I've called it a couple of different names, but it's like the next level of organization bigger than our galaxy. Our galaxy is part of a supercluster. It's part of this gigantic structure called Laniakea, which a lot of people don't know about. And then that just impossibly vast structure is the next ordering. The next level above that is just the whole universe. So we've got our own solar system level, the galactic level, the intergalactic level or cosmic level, and then the universe level all stacked in there. So then we can see that strip is actually a model of our bodies, and it's a model of the universe. And our bodies and the universe are organized under the same principles. And so I can show that pretty easily with the deck.
Yeah. Well, that makes total sense. Fantastic. So, do you have any idea when these are going to be published?
Well, I'm submitting, I'm preparing them for different. What I've been reading is if I try to get them actually to a major publisher, then you don't know how long it's going to take for them to take it, and so I don't know. But I met this lady at the festival where she said that there's a place you can send it to where they'll edit it for free, and then there's a so I'm just putting the last touches, and I've got the layout so I can start submitting it.
Very cool.
So I don't know how long that will take. This will be my first time where I'm trying to publish.
Oh, that's awesome. When I published my book, Walk-In's Cosmology of the Soul, I decided to do self-publishing for a lot of different reasons, but one of them being I would be able to retain control over that. And so for me, I found self-publishing to be phenomenal. For other people, they absolutely love going through a publishing company because they help them with marketing, etc. So I think there's a lot of pros and cons. I think you're smart doing your homework on that.
Yeah,
Let me know
thank
what you
you.
find out.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to try a couple of different options and just see. It's exciting. I've been working on this. Feels like it's probably 10 years trying to. I made the deck pretty early on, but then getting the book finished, and I had to change the images. Some of them were not they were copyrighted. So I got them off Google, and I thought that would be okay, but no. So I had to redo those. But now it's getting real close to ready to go.
That's awesome. 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 So once you get this published, do you have plans to publish anything else? Is there anything else that your guides are bringing through for you right now?
Yes. So I have another book that I'm making about math anxiety and about people that are how to get in touch with your emotions and help. Basically, you can start doing soul healing through your math trouble. And so if you are having trouble with math, a lot of people get the lockdown, they can't think, they just see the numbers, and so we would use a program like what I was showing you where you figure out where you got stuck, what happened there, and then we work with those feelings to help free that anxiety from people so they can learn new skills, feel more confident. If you can clear like math, it's cool because it just sits there, and then people suddenly are like, oh, I thought that was hard all this time. And it's because, well, you realized that in third grade when you struggled, and then you just kind of froze, and you've been frozen the whole time. And now that you have your real faculties, it's actually pretty simple. So that I'm wanting to build a math anxiety program for people just at large. And then for people who are more mystically oriented, or people who are more curious about their star and galactic origins, then we can use the deck more directly for these people, because it's really for the star people, and really to help make sense of these different dimensions and how we can talk about them in a real way. So
that's awesome.
I also have a in the days after the festival, where I've been just processing, I was also seeing and remembering a lot of other I just see there's such a struggle today. We're called to take this mystic, what would have been called mystic in the past. I don't know what we call it, like the new knowledge or the galactic influences that are coming in to help us expand our consciousness and remember who we are. I see people, if they're stuck at the third dimension or stuck at the fourth dimension of reality and think that's all there is, then it's effectively an impoverishment. People don't realize they're living in an impoverished consciousness. And so a lot of the monetary poverty and physical poverty and spiritual poverty that's going on as a result of seeing such a small and limited, thinking we're all just cut off from each other, and showing ways to not just to different groups of people who to help where we're not stuck in the third or fourth dimension in our sharing and our consciousness. And for people who already get it, now you have an affirmation and a validation that there's more going on. And for people who kind of don't believe or don't know, then I can use math and use other forms of classic truth to demonstrate it, so that I'm not just making it up. I've got it laid out with demonstration so that people can access it more cleanly. So when they first showed it to me, there's basically, like, you could say like the empire or the controller forces or whatever want us to be small and divided and disconnected. And so if we've been expanded into a deeper and richer consciousness, where we have a metaphysical structure that accounts for all of us, then you can't be easily pushed back into that 3D container. So that's part of my vision of how to spread and help people, is to open that up.
Well, that's amazing. And one of the questions that I have, so as people work through these math problems, as they begin to unlock the emotion basically around the math and what was going on in their life, then that's going to translate over into their adult life and make them healthier, happier individuals. Is that correct?
Yes. You can use that trauma as a key. The anxiety is the feelings that have been trapped up there, that usually people think they're stupid. They think, oh, I can't do this. And it's a shameful secret. They can't tell anybody. They're just sitting there hoping nobody will find out how terrible they are in math. They just don't want anything to come up in case somebody might see them. I mean, I just run into people like this all the time. It's so common. So if for people to have a little bit of confidence, have a little bit of skill, realize that you don't have to trust some outward authority about the truth. You can understand it for yourself, and I can help you just make sense of what the terms mean, and you can prove it for yourself. And once you start having a way to test it for yourself, where you can prove it to yourself without having to depend on somebody else to tell you, then it helps build your own internal power, your own self independence. And for a lot of people, that's exciting. It's like they didn't know.
Well, I tell you, I am definitely not a mathematician, but there is nothing that me and my little calculator on the phone can't figure out.
That's what it's for.
Yeah, it's great. So I think this is really awesome what you're doing, because you really are looking at the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual components of everything that makes us us. And you're translating that over into the larger view of the universe by using math. And I don't know if I have ever met anyone yet that's doing that. So hats off. I think that, you know, that's pretty
Thank you.
unique.
Thank you, Sheila. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a popular contribution once people realize what I've really done and what you can do with it.
Right. Well, I recognize it, and I think that it's amazing, and that's one reason I wanted to share all of this information with everybody today. Now, one thing I do want to ask you, I know we've kind of covered a lot of information and sort of been all over the board a little bit, but is there anything in particular that's coming to mind that I haven't asked you about, or we haven't talked about, that you really want to share with people?
Well, I can say that I realized at this festival about the Andromeda Gate that
Mm,
I've already been pretty tapped in with the Pleiadians for some time. I've known about a lot of their work. I feel real connected with what they're doing, and I have other friends in star systems that I know the Pleiadian hub is like my main outlet. But what I realized um, through the conference and afterwards is that it helped open me up to the Andromedan, because Andromeda is the nearest galaxy. And
mhm.
so it's a whole nother galaxy right over there, by the way. And a lot of people think of it as a star, but it's not a star, it's a whole galaxy. So um in my understanding, like the Pleiades is a star system that's basically just right over there. Because you can
Mhm.
see it with your eyes. So it's not very
Right.
far away in the galaxy. And so they're like our closer neighborhood friends. But they're
Right.
still like a star system. But Andromeda, the entire galaxy. So it's a much vaster um cosmic gateway.
Mm,
When I was tapping into letting the Andromedan energy connect and help me understand, it was like my field felt bigger, more
mhm.
open. A lot of the strange things I've been through in my life were starting to, oh, that's why I had to go through that. And that's what that was. And just kind of and organizing a lot of those experiences. So I feel excited about this new Andromedan information. And it's kind of like a overlaying my other star connections. And so I'm excited about what new information is coming around that and what it's leading me to. And
That's
uh,
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember, and some of the teachings that my collective have shared with me that, of course, just like the Earth at one time had Pangea, where all the land masses were connected, the same thing was in our galaxy, where the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy were one. And with the division of the Alpha Omega energies, that they began to separate, and that Andromeda took on that divine feminine aspect. The Milky Way took on that divine masculine. And for years and eons of time, they were apart. But now even scientists are talking about how we're getting closer and closer, and maybe in another billion years or so, they will be back together as one. And that seems like a long time to us. But when you think about the history and nonlinear time in the history of the universe, it's like, it's just a drop in the bucket. And I remember before I incarnated into this body as a walk-in, I was in the Andromedan system with my collective, and we were working and had our stuff going on, and I was always like, "Oh, that's cool." And somebody asked me one day, they said, "Well, what were you doing in the Andromedan system?" And I'm like, gosh, I don't even know, And so through, I was working with Misha Johnston, and she took me back. And lo and behold, I got the full story of what was going on, but also discovered that the Andromedan aspect of me was much more a part of me than I had actually realize, because I started out in the angelic realm, and just like all of us, we have soul experience after soul experience after soul experience. But by the time I'd had all my soul experiences and everyone came back together, one of the primary or dominant forces was the Andromedan. Even though when I came in more Arcturian, but there was already a framework laid within this system that allowed for that transition to occur. But now it's becoming more and more Andromedan in its nature, and so I'm learning more about that as we go along as well. And the Andromeda Gateway, I think, was a very, very powerful meditation. And for people who are looking for different ways to connect with their own galactic beings, you can go to hypnotherapists. Barbara Lamb is absolutely phenomenal. This isn't commercials, by the way, but it is commercials. So Barbara Lamb is a wonderful hypnotherapist, and also Misha Johnson. Those are the two that I've worked with. I've worked with Geraldine Orozco, and she is very, very helpful. And also Geraldine has the expertise that she can help people if they discover that they are also like a hybrid mother or hybrid parent, or they themselves might be hybrids. I believe we're all hybrid, because in the beginning of all things, when all of the, for lack of better terms, the genetic experiments took place,
Yep.
What we were is no longer what we are. And so we have many, many galactic genetics that runs through us. And I think that's one reason why they're always watching. Of course, now with the Ascension going full force, already underway, I think one of the things that they're observing is not just the Ascension, because, we've been through Ascension after Ascension after Ascension, but I think what they're more interested in is the fact that that matrix, that false matrix, is breaking down this time. And so when the Earth redoes herself again, then we actually will be back into that fifth dimension or fifth density frequency, which we've been all along, but we just forgot about it because of all the false matrixing. And so there's so much out there. People can, there's stuff on YouTube. You can always go to consciousawakeningnetwork.org and check out our channels and all of our wonderful hosts that we have. But there's so much information out there that it really behooves people to do a little research and to find out a little bit more about their own galactic origins. I think it's, people used to come to me all the time for past life regressions, and now they're coming for their galactic regressions because they're really feeling that starseed nature waking up.
Yes. And one of the, you're talking about Ascension and the keys to like the fifth dimension, like with the card system, I can show it real clear that the fifth chakra, the fifth dimension, and the galaxy are all resonant. And so right now we're in the galaxy, it's not far, far away. Like,
right,
we're galactic right now. And so the access to the channels they're not as, in the science, it's like, oh, that star is 2 or 3, it's 30 light years or whatever away, as if light was the fastest thing. But relative to the galactic framework, the suns are just the stars are just little tiny dots, and the galaxy is so vast. And so if for any kind of intergalactic civilization, if you had to go at light speed, it would be like having donkey cart level on Earth, just podunk along from one star to the next on this light speed. And I know there are hyperlight technologies within the galaxy, or that you wouldn't even be able to have a civilization. Like, so being able to see, and so part of that key of that is, what I understand is vibration and resonance. So we can tune into the galactic frequencies through our voice and through the songs and through the certain tones and keys, and that actually helps us directly access it in a way that we can't really see it, but we can vibrate to it and harmonize with it and resonate with it.
Well, I think when your cards come out, it's going to make a huge impact. I really do. And so for people to start getting ready for these cards, is there anything you recommend that people begin to do or start to study for themselves?
Well, that's a good question. To me, the most important thing is to follow your spirit, to follow what your true soul is guiding you to. So if even like people that hear our conversation here, if it's kind of exciting to learn and think about, that's your clue right there. So, if people's excitement, people's feeling, I think that being able to listen and tap into your own. See, and that's the thing about the math anxiety, or it's true for any fear. Just that fear keeps us from trusting that we're actually a part of something so much more magnificent. And so starting to tap more into the love, because I've also been seeing that what I would call the heavenly love channels are getting more open. So there's love streaming in from this galaxy. There's love streaming in from intercosmic space. There's love streaming in from the universe. There's just all this beautiful, pure love that's streaming in. And if we're locked in fear, and if we can't feel that love in our heart, then that's the best preparation, is to start to get in touch with your feelings and what is blocking you up in fear, and finding ways to work through that, because that's going to open you up to being ready to receive higher level information.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So if people would like to pre-order this deck, how could they do that? Give you an idea.
That's a great idea. People keep asking me about how they can get it. They keep thinking, well, I'm not that far away, but it keeps being they could contact me, they could email me, or they could
what is your email address for people that are interested in pre-ordering this deck?
It's gentrygrant@gmail.com, GENTRYGRANT@gmail.com. I could put people on the list. I have some people on the list. So
okay, well, great. Well, I hope you've got me on the list.
Oh, thank you, Sheila.
Yep, put me on that list if you don't already. So, okay, folks, you heard it here. Grant's deck will be coming out in the near future, so make sure you get on his pre-order list. And Grant, I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing all your spectacular knowledge and information, and let us know this deck is not just another oracle deck. It's actually a guide to ourselves and the universe.
That's right. Thank you, Sheila. No, that's an excellent way of seeing it and thinking about it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. And folks, we're going to have Grant back, and he will be on Cosmic Conversations, the real Cosmic Conversations. He'll be with us in December. And so we will be letting you know about that. So mark your calendars for December. Come back, join Grant, and hopefully you can tell us, I've already published and I'm getting ready to publish more. So
that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Grant. I appreciate your being here. So until we are all back together again next week, everyone, much love to you and namaste. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.